Is it possible to do Pigeon Forge in a day? Well, today we're going to give it a try and just do that. Welcome to Bear Facts, where we explore the Smoky Mountains one bear fact at a time. Okay, now I know that there's no possible way to see and do everything in Pigeon Forge in just one day. Just not going to happen. And to be frank, I'm not even going to try. But hear me out. There is a way to experience the flavors and vibrancy of Pigeon Forge, and that is feasible to do all in one day. Will this be an exhausting day? Sure it will. Will you be broke by the end of the day? Absolutely. Pigeon Forge is not cheap, but if you want to see Pigeon Forge in one day, it will cost money and it will be exhausting. So here we go. Get on some comfortable walking shoes, loosen your belts because we'll be eating a lot today, and check your wallets. This will be an exciting adventure. There is no doubt in my mind that Pigeon Forge is full of culture and vibrancy that has been strongly impacted by the tourist industry. Many of the top attractions are focused on keeping people entertained and engaged, but many of these attractions don't really define Pigeon Forge or even help in any possible way. So my day will focus on places that have either a history in Pigeon Forge or somehow are impactful in some way, either through the culture or sheer popularity of the place. And that's going to be my criteria and what I use to kind of guide this trip along. And another thing is I will focus on a day during spring or summer months. The holiday seasons are going to look very different. I plan on putting out a Day in Pigeon Forge holiday edition later on this year, so keep an eye out for that one. Now, you can't start your day on an empty stomach, and you're in the Smoky Mountains, the home of pancake houses and breakfast places. So we're going to start our day with breakfast. I'm going to make a suggestion and direct you directly over to Reagan's Pancake House. Personally, this is one of my favorite places to have breakfast in all of the Smoky Mountains, and the reason being, it's a buffet. But you can also eat off the menu. Either way, it's a good place to start your day. It's inexpensive and ideal for a variety of groups and eaters. We just like that it's not too expensive, and you won't need to wait for your food. You only have a day here in Pigeon Forge, so why waste it waiting for a server to take your order and all that stuff? Just kind of get in that corral, shovel in the food, and move on out. We have a lot to do today. Now, after stuffing yourself, the next place I suggest is heading over to the island. No, wait, hear me out. Some of you are rolling your eyes and thinking, well, the island is just a shopping place with some food and overpriced souvenirs, basically a tourist trap. And well, yes and no. The island is a shopping, dining, and entertainment venue that many tourists enjoy visiting and seeing, and some might consider it a tourist trap, and it is a tourist destination. If you get trapped, that's not my fault. That's on you. But before you discount this idea, please keep in mind that the island itself has actually a fun and unique history. If you want to watch that video I did on them, you can go ahead and learn some of that. And they also have a Starbucks, so there is that. And there's also a few attractions that you might want to consider doing here before you write them off. First thing, since it's pretty early in the morning still, just had breakfast, you have an easier time getting parking here. The island has free parking and shuttle services for guests, and the island also has easy access to the River Walk. The River Walk is a paved walkway that follows the Little Pigeon River for miles. The section next to the island is actually pretty central to Pigeon Forge. From here, you can walk all the way to the Old Mill District. It's a beautifully paved walkway, but if you're trying to see all of Pigeon Forge in one day, you just won't have time to enjoy the entire walk. But it is nice to see in the morning, and you get to see a lot of the local birds hanging out in the trails and looking for breakfast. Watch the geese. They have a tendency to leave a trail behind them. If you keep following the river trail the other way, it will lead up to the front and go around the front of the island and keep going from there, and will parallel the parkway. I'll be honest and say that the furthest I've ever walked that way is up to the actual 441 Parkway by Harry Harpoon's, which is an amazing place to have dinner or lunch if you are looking for seafood. Now, there is another reason I suggested going to the island early in your day. Many would argue that the island is better at night, and I tend to agree, but there is something that's worth doing there in the daytime, and that's the wheel. Yes, I know it's just a Ferris wheel, and they have them all over the country, but if you're never coming to the Smoky Mountains again, or if it'll be years again before coming, then why not? It's tacky and so touristy, but I will say that the views from the wheel of the Smoky Mountains are worth the embarrassment of being caught seen on a Ferris wheel. Because on a clear day, or even clearish day, it's pretty cool up there. But why suggest getting there early in the day? Well, for a few extra bucks, you can get a second trip on the Ferris wheel. That means you can see Pigeon Forge and the surrounding areas not once, but 2 times in the day. Once during the daytime and once at night. And it's so worth using at night, especially if you're visiting during the Christmas season. If you're here early enough, you can get some fantastic views of the mountains in the distance and come back later and see it from a different perspective. Like I said, I think it's worth your time. If there is only one other thing I suggest you do before leaving the island this morning, that would be to try the Skyfly, Soar America. If you've ever been to Disney and been on the Soarin' ride in Epcot, you have a sense of what this ride is like. It's a vertical experience, but you will be lifted high off the ground. Personally, I think I enjoyed this ride. It is kind of expensive, and it is kind of a one-off, but it's unique to the area, so I thought it was pretty cool. There are plenty of other things that you can do at the island, from shopping, getting a bite to eat, or just hanging out and watching the fountain shows. But if you want to see more of Pigeon Forge, we need to get moving to our next destination. But don't worry, we'll be back at the end of the day. At this point, some of you are wondering, why haven't you talked about Dollywood? Isn't Dollywood the definition of Pigeon Forge? In fact, when I even talk about the Smoky Mountains with other people, I need to actually say, oh, Dollywood, because they have no idea where Pigeon Forge or even Tennessee is sometimes. That's how big Dollywood is. So it's kind of hard to believe I haven't talked about them yet, but let me explain why. If you have young ones, Dollywood can be a whole day affair. But if you're like me and don't care that much for roller coasters, Dollywood is still worth seeing, but it isn't a whole day park. In fact, you can basically walk through Dollywood in a few hours in the spring or summer, though not in the holiday weekends. Just scrap any plans you have for those days because crowds in Pigeon Forge and Dollywood are bad. It will cost you about $80 a person plus parking. So if you have the budget, take the time and walk the park. The park is quite beautiful and worth the cost, even if you only stay for a few hours. And if this is the one and only time you're going to be in Pigeon Forge, some would consider this a must-see. If you do decide to visit, the one and only ride I would prioritize is the train. This is an authentic steam train, and once again, I feel it's worth it. Not only because you get to see a little bit of the park from a different perspective, but because trains are a huge part of Pigeon Forge's identity and past, so it kind of ties things together. There's also the Eagles. I love sitting down for one of the bird shows. They have a lot of different side things that you can see and experience that are worth doing there. Now, I haven't talked about food at Dollywood. They do have some good food there and different food items, but there is one food thing that you should prioritize, if you ask me. It's kind of like the quintessential one thing that everyone talks about and raves about in Dollywood, and that's their cinnamon bread. It is phenomenal. It is an amazing hot loaf of bread dripping in sugar and butter. It is fantastic. but it is also a shareable item, or you can eat it yourself. That's entirely up to you if you try to scarf that down in one sitting. You can buy this bread at 2 different locations right as you enter the park. There's a bakery right there. And if you go farther into the park, they have the mill, which you can purchase them at the side booth and then head up over to the mill and actually pick up your loaf. It's really very tasty, but like I said, high in calories. So enjoy if you do it. You're on vacation, why not? The key to making the most value for your money if visiting Dollywood in a 2 or 3 hour visit is to make sure you go during one of their festival times. In the spring, they pull out all the stops and delight guests with flowers and more flowers. In the fall, it's the Harvest Festival. The park pulls out over 1,000 pumpkins and creates these whimsical pumpkin creations. And then there's the Winterfest or Christmas Festival. The park puts up over 1 million lights and creates an enchanting, magical world. The only noteworthy thing about Dollywood in the summer, at least from my perspective, is the night show. The night drone show is worth it. It's really kind of cool to see. Now, some of you might be hungry, especially if you didn't try the cinnamon bread at Dollywood or snacked your way through the island. So let's leave Dollywood and head on back down to the parkway to enjoy some authentic Southern cuisine. And Pigeon Forge has a lot of amazing places to eat. So where I will suggest you go is for a uniquely Smoky Mountain lunch. Let's just get some barbecue because you're in the South, and who's better to ask for good barbecue than a Southern host? One of my favorites in Pigeon Forge is Puckett's. This is a somewhat locally owned restaurant that's great for lunch, though they do also have a dinner menu as well as live entertainment at nights. I prefer them as a lunch choice because they are a order and then pay, and then you just wait for your food, and then you just kind of leave when you're ready. Once again, you are trying to get through Pigeon Forge quickly and experience it, and sitting down and eating long meals does not get you that goal accomplished. So that's why Puckett's is good. Plus, they have really good food. I really like them. And since you're at Puckett's, right next door is another of Pigeon Forge's must-dos, the Christmas Place. The store sells Christmas year-round and is very popular with visitors. They have all kinds of fun Christmas decorations, accessories, and unique items that you can pick up. Why not get a Christmas ornament to remember your visit to Pigeon Forge? This is some people consider an amazing place to go to. Now, after you've left the Christmas Place and you're in the Christmas spirit, let's do something entirely different. We're gonna leave the parkway and head towards Wares Valley to do one of the most popular quintessential activities that you can do in the Smoky Mountains, and that's a mountain coaster. Now, if you have no idea what a mountain coaster is, you most likely have never lived in a mountain area because you kind of need them to make them work. To sum it up, mountain coasters are steel-tracked single or tandem rider coasters that rely on gravity to propel the rider. Pigeon Forge has quite a few of these, hence, the mountain part of it, including Rocky Tops, Alpine, and a few other smaller ones. I suggest heading over to Goat on the Roof because not only they have a great mountain coaster, but you can also feed goats, or you can try and hit a miniature golf ball through the legs of a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a goat climbing on its back. Just last year, they added an animatronic dinosaur miniature golf course, making this attraction worth the time and visit. Goat on the Roof is a great family attraction that has a lot to offer, and I believe it's locally owned. Though tacky, I really feel that this attraction sums up the Smoky Mountains. These guys were one of the first in the area to actually build a mountain coaster ride, and they have no problem embracing the wacky and unusual. Because if you can't say tacky and Pigeon Forge in one sentence, you don't understand the culture, because they go hand in hand. All right, after a round of miniature golf and a thrilling ride down the mountain coaster, let's head back to the parkway. There are a few attractions that seem to really stand out, not only because they're really big and flashy, but they're kind of like things that you might only actually find in Pigeon Forge. So let's talk about them. First off, there's no way to do all 3 and all the other activities I've already said in one day, but I would suggest if you wanted to do at least one museum-like attraction, pick from one of these 3. I actually have done a video on each of them, so you can watch and learn more if you go to the link in my description. The first is the Alcatraz Crime Museum. This museum is up next to the island and is a one-of-a-kind attraction in the world, not just Pigeon Forge. This place is more for adults and families with older kids, but it offers visitors a glimpse into the history of society's worst criminals. They have authentic artifacts from some of the most notorious criminal minds in history. And this is about a 1 to 2 hour museum, but it is pricey. Getting the audio tour would really enhance your experience, but it would be a waste of money if you don't have time to use it. So before going there, consider whether or not this is something that's worth the time and cost. And really, if you're not interested in the weird or macabre, pass it by because it's not for you. Now, if Alcatraz Crime Museum is a little too dark, consider going to the Hollywood Wax Museum. What's more touristy than walking through a museum of wax figures and getting selfies? Now, don't mistake this place for Madame Tussauds. This is actually not owned by the same people. This museum is fun and entertainment, and we actually took our parents there who are in their 70s and they had a blast. So don't discount the place just because it seems touristy or for only young kids, because honestly, us older people do like to see celebrities too. And then there's the last museum that I would consider prioritizing over any other museum in Pigeon Forge, and that is the Titanic. This is a great attraction, but also one more suited for adults. This museum takes about an hour or 2 to walk through if you read some of the things and don't rush at least, but it is pretty expensive. And if you're just going to say you did it, don't, because it's going to cost you a lot of money and it's not really worth it. If, however, the reason you want to go is because of budget or time, just drive up to the museum, get an ice cream at that new Titanic ice cream place, and take some photos, because unless you actually care about the Titanic, it's really not worth it. It is worth it, however, if you do have a fascination with the history of the Titanic. So it's one of those places that can be a real hit or miss for many people. So here you are heading into the dinner time and you're exhausted and most likely broke, but there is still more to be seen in Pigeon Forge, at least one more meal anyway. Now, Pigeon Forge is a hard one to choose from for dinner because there are so many places to consider. Do you want to eat local, cheap, or do you want pure tourist junk? If so, sorry, but no place will give you all 3. But I'll give you a suggestion for each one. For cheap, consider Cece's Pizza. This place is actually pretty reliable and consistent. They have a pizza buffet, perfect for those fussy eaters, and best of all, it's cheap. Kids love it here, and you can get a salad if you're kind of tired of all the fatty foods we've been eating. Now, if you're looking for something local, I would head to the place that actually says local in the name, the Local Goat. This place has fantastic burgers, and actually anything I've ever got on the menu has been phenomenal. The lines here can get crazy busy and long, and people are willing to wait. So if you are in a hurry, this is not the place to go. But if you have the time or you want to really embrace a place that is local to Pigeon Forge, this is the place to go. It's also good for couples because you can order off the menu, take your time, relax, get a drink at the bar, and just chill for a little while before you head into your last crazy end of the day stuff. Families love the place too. Like I said, good burgers. And then there's the touristy place. Like I said, I'd offer you a third one. Third option is Paula Deen's. Yeah, I know they're not local or even cheap, but they sure are popular. And the food here is halfway decent. Paula Deen's is at the island, so if you're heading back there anyway, and they offer family-style dining, all you can eat. The fried chicken is really good, and they offer many other items to choose from. The biggest obstacle here is which dish to get, because you can't get every dish. You have to actually choose. But if you want touristy, this is the place to go. And also, you can watch the island as it lights up. There's a big bay window that guests can sit and eat and look out at the island below. So, here is where you end your day. Unless you're still at Dollywood, in which case keep having fun because you should stay for the drone show. But if you had continued on with me, here we are. We're at the island. The island place is very good for the evenings. It's a very chill place. It's cooling down now, and you've had an exhausting day. So you can kind of just relax, enjoy the lights, and maybe head back to the Ferris wheel if you'd gotten that ticket for the second trip. Go on, check out Pigeon Forge at sunset or the evening. Sunset is actually pretty darn hard to time, but if you can do it, I can imagine the views up there would be phenomenal. After hopping off the Ferris wheel, head over to Old Smoky and sample the local drink, moonshine. Old Smoky offers samples of most of their moonshine, and it doesn't cost all that much, unless you actually buy the moonshine and start scraping the bottom of your piggy bank, because that stuff is expensive. If moonshine isn't for you, you can head over to Stud Cider and try their wide selection of drinks. Or if you're like me, prefer sweet over pure acid, the wine shop has a great selection of wines that will make anyone a diabetic. While walking around the island, you can also pick up a sweet treat that won't get you drunk. The island has the fudgery, even if you don't like fudge. Go in and look at the posters inside. Those are like crazy funny. I laughed at the owner's antics and, applaud him for that. The bake sale offers you a wide variety of Rice Krispie dipped treats to cake cookies. At least that's what I call them. They're like a cake and a cookie all in one. Birds also has a location here, and you can sample their different cookies. I could keep going on and on, but most of you are probably still stuffed from Paula Deen's, so no sense in keep going on. But make sure you do stop and relax and take it easy. It's nighttime and the lights are coming out, the fountains are lighting up, the music's going, the water's dancing. Take it easy and take in the sights, because if this is the only time you're going to be in Pigeon Forge, enjoy it, relax, and just have a good time. I hope this video helps you learn more about the Smoky Mountains or helps you plan for your own next trip. You're getting an honest review from our personal experiences, but facts and things change, so please keep us in the loop if you learn anything new and want to share your experiences in the comments. Thanks again for visiting us at Fairfax of the Smoky Mountains. Please click that like button and subscribe to our channel.